Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafa Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. All praise due to Allah alone. We will praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of your program, Ask Huda. And in the beginning, as usual, I would like to remind you with our contact informations. For those who would like to drop their questions today, either via email or call in, the area code is 002, then the phone number is 0238555248 or 249. And the email address is ask@huda.tv. And for your feedback, there is a feedback@huda.tv. And there is a Facebook account, msalahofficial@facebook.com. Barakallahu fikum. All this info should appear on your screen as well. We, in fact, don't have any pending questions from the live questions that we received in the previous episodes, alhamdulillah. But we do have plenty of emails. And Islam Anwar, for instance, says, here in the KSA, that is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, our company provides us with meals with meat that is imported from South America. How can this be halal? This is not the way, of course, to ask the question. Rather, the question should be directed to the company, and the company should address the Minister of Health or Agriculture, because they are supposed to investigate whether the imported meat is healthy or not, halal or not, slaughtered according to the Sharia or not, which I'm pretty sure they do in most Muslim countries. So it's very simple that you need to address the company, and the company would have to give you a written info that this food is halal, because there is a halal supervision group that they make sure that the meat, it is slaughtered or processed lawfully. It doesn't matter where was it slaughtered, like whether in South or North America. What matters is the process of al-dhabh, which is known as at-tadhkiyah, slaughter in the jugular veins, cut in the jugular veins, bleeding and the blood or most of the blood, while the animal was still alive. The process of slaughtering while the animal is still alive. Unlike in many slaughterhouses where the animal being stunned by a stun gun, then afterward some electric blades will pass by and chop the heads of all of the cattle or the animals or the chicken. But after many of them are already pronounced dead, then that's called mayta. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةِ. Al-mayta is any animal which is lawfully for us, which is normally lawful for us to consume if it was slaughtered, which we call it tadhkiyah. إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ. التذكية is to slaughter the animal, تفري الأوداج, to cut the veins which would bleed either most of the blood or as much possible while the animal was still alive. But if the animal is already dead, then somebody came and cut the head off, animal is dead, then it is called mayta. In order to find out, there is a Sharia committee in every slaughterhouse, even in North America or South America. I personally, for instance, was invited to supervise some of these slaughterhouses and sign, and they put my signature or my stamp on every package that is going to the Middle East with the word halal. But I require that I should be there all the time. It's not sufficient to visit it once and say halal. Of course, you get a percentage on that. The percentage will be for your signature. You have to see it on regular basis. It is not sufficient to check it out once or visit it once every while, because this is a very dangerous responsibility. It is pertaining the food consumption. What would Muslims eat? So the Ministry of Health should verify that by different means of verifications before allowing any meat to be sold or distributed, in the first place to be imported from outside of the country. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abu Safwan from Kuwait.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, I have actually one question, but it has two parts.
Naam.
One is with reference to Surah Nisa's ayah, وَإِنْ كَانَ رَجُلٍ يُورَثُ كَلَالَةٍ وَامْرَأَةٌ وَلَهُ أَخٌ أَوْ أُخْتٌ فَلِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا السُّدُسُ. So I need to know that if the person dies, so he in his what we say inheritance, the brothers and sisters, if he has no children and no parents, only wife he has, he left behind. So the brothers and sisters, they have share in it. My question is, this share is also included those brothers and sisters which have died, or it is only valid for those who are alive, the brothers and sisters?
Only those who are still alive.
Okay.
Okay.
The second is, the brother, before die, he has, on the safe side, because no one was close, he has put everything on his wife's name. So in this case, and has not left any wasiya. So in this case, what would happen to this? The brothers and sisters still have any share in it, or it all goes to the wife?
There is a difference.
The widow.
There is a big difference between a wasiyah and selling every item you have to one particular person before death. Because regardless his intention was good or bad, if you have already sold, there is a contract of selling his properties, his building, his whatever he possesses, to his spouse or to somebody else, then you cannot do anything about it. Because he has sold willingly within his life, when he was healthy, these items. So whether it was sold to his wife, one of the ears, or others, it's not his anymore. It's in somebody's name. You cannot do anything about it. Yes, you are under the assumption that he owned this building and he owned this property, and when he dies, you guys will get your share, but you realize that everything years ago was written in somebody else's name. So in his life, if he's done that in order to prevent the natural heirs from their shares, he will be committing a sin. A person in his life, he has the right to give of his wealth to whomever he wills, as means of charity, as means of help, as means of gift, except if they were his children, for instance. Then he has to be just in distributing even the gifts or the inheritance as shares within his life, according to the Sharia, of course, or the inheritance law. But if somebody intended towards the end of his life to deprive the heirs by writing everything to one of the heirs, then he will be blameworthy for that, of course. Okay? Thank you, Abu Safwan. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullahu khair. Sister Nadia from the KSA.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes. Yeah, Sheikh, I have two questions for you.
Naam.
And the first question is that I am 38 years old and I have two children, one girl 10 years and one boy 11 years, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
The thing is that I plan to have another baby. But the doctors say that after 35 years of age of woman, according to science, there are many chances that the child born will be having some defects, say some genetic defect, or the child born will be abnormal. What does Islam say about this?
Okay. Any other questions?
And the second question is, that suppose I want to go ahead and do istikhara for making this decision. Now, I know how to pray that. I've seen it on the internet. I know how to pray istikhara and I know the dua for istikhara. But I don't know how we get our decision by doing so. That is, do we get a dream or any indication whatsoever? I want to know that in case I want to make istikhara for this. And another question, please, Sheikh.
Okay.
Yes, as I told you, I have a boy 10 years of age, 7 years of age. I am from a family where I have only girls, so we are only that I do not know how to bring up a boy and a girl together. Because many people tell me that a boy and brother and sister should not share the same bed or the same room. I keep hearing such things from here and there. Can you highlight on the guidelines in bringing up brothers and sisters in a house?
Okay.
Okay, please answer.
Thank you. You're most welcome. Barakallah feek, Sister Nadia. Okay. Jamshid from the case A. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother, I have just one clarification. I would like you to just comment on it. Actually, what has happened just a couple of days back, I had finished my Isha prayer with Jama, and then one of my brother came and he started praying alone. And he was praying a little bit louder so that someone can come and join him as a Jama prayer. But I waited for about some time and he finished one rakat, but nobody came. Then I myself joined him and with the niyyah of one full prayer.
Oh, okay. Brother Gamshid, basically you're talking about a situation that happened to you, right?
Yes.
In the masjid, you were praying Jama'ah. You need to explain it.
Yes.
Start over, please, from the beginning.
Yes. Shall I start from the beginning?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you see, once I had finished the Jama prayer, I saw one of my brother, he came and started praying alone. And he was praying a little bit louder so that someone else can come and join him as a Jama prayer. So I waited for some time and nobody came and he was speaking a little louder. So I joined the prayer with him and I made my Nafil prayer.
Okay.
Although I have finished my first prayer. So I joined him in the second rakat. So once he finished it, I got up and then I finished my fourth rakat. My confusion is that I had to pray 2 rakat or 4 rakat with him.
Okay. And how many rakats did he pray?
I prayed 4 rakats.
The imam, the person who's praying by himself?
Yeah, he prayed 4 rakat. Isha prayer 4 rakat.
Okay. So he was not a traveler. Okay, first of all, Jazakallahu khairan for your keenness and for your good intention and for caring for others. Number 2, when somebody is praying during the loud prayers, even by himself, singular, himself or herself, if the person is praying in the masjid, if there's a male, then he's allowed to raise his voice a bit where he can hear his own recitation. So this is not necessarily a sign that he's calling for somebody to join him, even though it is also okay. If nobody joined him and you volunteer to pray with him in order to get the word of Jama'ah, Jazakallah khairan, that counts as nafl for you. And you receive the multiple reward for the Jama'ah, but the first time you offered, it was the fard, and the second time is nafl. So you join him in the second rak'ah, which means when he finishes, you will still owe 1 rak'ah because you're praying Isha, even though it's nafl, but still 4 rak'ahs. So yes, it is true that you should have completed the count 4 rak'ahs. Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu feek. Now, Sister Nadia from the case A, she's 33, she's already blessed with a couple of kids, mashallah, and she would like to conceive, but she's worried some medical reports say that after the age of 35, the child may have some Down syndrome or whatever. That should not be a reason to deprive you from having a child. Theories and assumptions and researches are not necessarily facts. These are all theories. And of course, some sisters, some women experience, particularly in the States, I've seen some women do get the menopause at the age of 33. Yes. And on the other hand, there are some women who are still, mashallah, fertile, and they give birth at the age of 40 and 45 and 46 and even beyond that. So we cannot generalize based on the culture. It may differ from a culture to another and from a woman to another. If you're physically fit, alhamdulillah, and you're healthy enough and you would like to conceive and there is no reason to prevent you from that medically, then that's fine. Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. May Allah bless you with the beautiful offspring and goodly ones. As far as praying istikhara, al-istikhara is prescribed upon planning or determining to do any lawful act. lawful or permissible act. So we differentiate between what's a wajib and what's permissible. If somebody wants to perform Hajjatul Islam, the very first Hajj, why would I pray istikhara? I have to. It's not optional. I don't pray istikhara to fast in Ramadan or not to fast, to go for Hajj or not to go. But whenever it is voluntary, whenever it is permissible. So conceiving is something, as long as you're healthy, you should not prevent it. But as far as the timing and so on, you may pray istikhara. And in this case, the result will be that Allah the Almighty will direct you to do what's best and what He chooses for you through being inclined towards that, facilitating that choice which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses for you. When you said, فَقْدُرْهُ لِي وَيَسِّرْهُ لِي. So if you know in your infinite knowledge, this choice is better for me, pertaining my livelihood and hereafter, then make it easy for me, decree it for me, and make it happen. And if it is the opposite, then distance it from me and distance me from it and give me what's best. Okay. Not necessarily every time you pray istikhara, you have to go to sleep because you're going to see a dream. This is a myth. Okay. You pray istikhara and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for you to get what's best or to choose what's best, or will facilitate for you that particular choice which He chooses for you. This is in summary or in brief the istikhara and what will you get. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Abdullah from Sweden.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Brother Abdullah?
Alhamdulillah. I want to tell you, Shaykh, I love you for the sake of Allah, and inshallah I will see you in Jannah, inshallah. Ameen,
Ameen. Barakallah feek. May Allah, the one whom you love me for His sake, love you as well. And all the viewers.
Ameen wa ajmain, ameen wa ajmain. Shaykh, I have 3 questions, inshallah. The first is actually regarding the Huda Academy, which, alhamdulillah, I was a student of yours on Aqidah Course 1, and I'm still waiting for the Aqidah Course 2, inshallah, and I haven't even received the diploma that was said that we're going to get after we go through the exam, you know.
Okay, as far as phase 2, inshallah, is coming along. As you know that during Ramadan, the studio is extremely busy, day and night. And alhamdulillah, shukla, we started preparing for Hajj. But inshallah, hopefully before Hajj, you will have phase 2 ready. As far as the diploma, we're going to speak, inshallah, to the brothers who are in charge and verify that, inshallah.
Inshallah, barakallah feek.
Second.
The second thing I have, Shaykh, I wonder if there is any evidences, because I've heard from a Shaykh here in Sweden that it is okay to shake hands with the opposite sex, with the non-mahram, in darura circumstances. But when I went to and tried to find evidences, I saw hadith from Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam that he never ever touched a non-mahram, shaking hands or anything, and I looked on different fatwas and didn't find anything. And I want to hear your point of view.
So basically you answer the question, and the person who's saying it is permissible is required to present a proof. Especially we have plenty of evidences that his statement is false. And the Prophet ﷺ, the hadith is collected in the Sound Collection, when he was giving women the pledge of allegiance or accepting from them the pledge of entering Islam, and he was on top of as-Safa, some women stretched their hands to shake hands with him, as did men shook hands with the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inni la usafihu nisa," I do not shake hands with women. Why? Not because I'm allergic or because my wife is very jealous. You know, there are a lot of excuses where people will present acting funny, simply because it's against my religion. And there is a straightforward hadith in this regard. It will be much easier, lighter for one to be hit with an iron needle in his head than touching the hand of a woman who is not lawful for him. So in the light of this hadith, we say, no, it is not permissible for a man to shake hands with a woman who is not either his wife or a lawful mahram of his. Barakallahu feek, Abdullah. Sister Nadia was asking about raising a boy and a girl together, and she doesn't have the quiet experience. I may answer her after these phone calls. Assalamu alaikum. Nada from the KSA.
Wa alaikum assalam, Ya Sheikh. I have a question regarding marriages on telephone.
Regarding?
Marriages on telephone.
Marriage on the phone.
Telephone.
Okay.
There is a friend of mine, she works abroad, and she got engaged long ago. And this boy now also, he got a job in the same place where she works. So both the families, they have decided that it's better, since he is also going in that same place, it's better for them to live as a married couple. So they arranged a small gathering with some close friends of both the families. They called the Khadi. The father of this girl became her wali and her uncles became the witnesses. At the time of marriage contract, the father called up the girl on phone in front of the Khadi and asked whether she accepts this boy with so-and-so mahram to be her, so-and-so meher, to be her husband. And she said yes in front of another relative which was present with her on that day, on the phone itself. And the father signed the marriage contract on behalf of this girl. Everything was done as a normal wedding, except this girl was not present on that party. So is this acceptable in Islam?
Yes, it is acceptable. Marriage is valid, and now she's officially married to this person. And if they wish to consummate the marriage and move in together, they may. And we'll
so it is acceptable on telephone?
Yeah, it is acceptable. Okay. Because what's required in marriage is al-ijabu wal-qabul. The main two pillars of marriage is the proposal and the agreement or acceptance. Of course, with the consent of the wali. And you just mentioned that the wali was a
father herself, yeah.
The father himself is number one guardian, of course. He's more worthy than anybody else. He was the official guardian. And there were at least 2 male witnesses.
Yeah, uncles were the witnesses.
Okay, fine. Then the marriage is 100% valid, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair.
Wa jazakum. Barakallahu feekum. So, Sister Farida from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. I would like to ask you 3 questions.
Now.
First is, I'm 30 years old and I'm having some difficulties in getting married. So some of the sisters, they're suggesting me to recite something which doesn't sound according to the Sunnah. So I just want to make sure before reciting this.
Like what?
It is like I will tell you, for example, one sister, she tells me to recite Surah Ahad 42 times before going to sleep. One sister suggested pray 2 rakats, and in every sujood I must say La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin 40 times in every sujood.
What about the 40, 42, these numbers? What is the significance of these numbers? I mean, where did you figure them out?
No, I am just told. I have not seen anything written.
I know. But what I'm asking is, I'm just wondering, because I've heard it over and over 40 times, but now we said 42 times. What if I say make it 43? What is the reason? What is the significance?
Exactly. So I want to be sure, because I've not recited or prayed any of these, because I just wanted to be sure. It is not something that is an innovation, or so I don't want to get myself into it.
No.
And this is one. I just want to ask what girls should recite if she's getting difficulties in finding a suitable match.
No.
And my second question is, my mom, she passed away 8 years ago.
May Allah have mercy on her.
Bless her with Jannah.
May Allah have mercy on her.
And out of anger and ignorance, she used to, curse us, like not something big, only something small. She used to just curse us. So does this have an effect on the life of children? This was only out of anger and ignorance. And how to correct this if it is having any effect? Like, say, for example, I'm I'm having difficulties in getting married or any other difficulties.
No.
And my last and third question is how to correct your parents, like if you see them disobeying or lying, like especially like say my father or my stepmother, or if I see them lying and taking everything lightly, how can we politely correct them so they don't feel bad and the relationship is not spoiled?
Okay, as a matter of fact, your second question makes a lot of sense, which is that that since your mother sometimes used to curse you guys and so on, would that have an effect perhaps on delay in your marriage or an effect in your life? Hopefully, inshallah, we'll have a chance to address this question and all your questions, inshallah, after we finish some phone calls. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Arish from the KSA.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Arish, how are you? Arish.
I am fine.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Wonderful. I'd like to hear Alhamdulillah first. How old are you?
I am 10 years old.
3 years old.
Yes.
Can we be friends?
What?
Can we be friends? Can I be your friend?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for honoring me. Okay, do you have a question, my friend?
My mother does not wash dishes or plates or vacuums or cleans the house after Maghrib prayer. She says that all this has to be done before Zuhar prayer. How right is this? Also tell me about cutting nails and cutting hair. My second question is, when we change clothes, does it invalidate wudu?
Okay, when we...
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, barakallahu fiki Arish. Thank you so much, mashallah. I can't believe you're only 3. May Allah bless you, your mother and your father, and of course your friend. Thank you so much, and the audience. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello?
Yes, assalamu alaikum, sister.
Hi, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa jazakum alhamdulillah wa shukla. Barakallah fiki.
Sheikh, I have a question, but it's sort of like a long story.
Okay, if you can compress it.
I'm sorry?
Can you compress it for the sake of time?
I will try my best to make it as short as possible.
Okay.
A boy has asked for my daughter's hand in marriage. He has known her for at least 4.5 years because they're in university together. And he had asked her earlier, like in the first year, he had asked and she turned him down. And the main reason for her to turn him down was because he wasn't a practicing Muslim.
He was not practicing?
He was not, no.
Okay.
4 years later, he came to meet her parents and he asked again. And again we asked him about his deen. And he said he has started to practice. Like he's been praying 5 times a day, but he's praying at home. He's learning to read Quran. He's studying some hadith, and so he's starting to try to be a better Muslim.
No.
My question is this a suitable match for my daughter? Like, would you advise that we go ahead with it?
Okay.
She is sort of, because she has known this person for so long, she's sort of inclined towards him. But the only thing is his deen.
Were you able to verify that he is really back on the right track and he started practicing, like he doesn't miss a prayer, he normally prays in jama'ah, he watches what he says? Were you able to verify that?
He's doing all of this. I don't know how I can verify it.
Yeah.
Other than I asked him, and he says to me that he is sincere, and he promises that he is doing it like what he says he's doing. He asked maybe 3 months ago. He had asked my husband and I. At that time, he didn't know how to read the Quran, and he had started some Quran classes. A few days ago, I met with him and I asked him to recite Quran for me, and I opened the Quran in front of him, and he was able to recite with some tajweed problems and that. But I see progress. I mean, for a person to be able to read Quran in 2 months, I see progress. But I don't know if this is enough, and I don't know if he is sincere in what he's doing.
What about your daughter? Is she into that? I mean, she likes him? She's
not saying clearly yes or no. I do feel that she is inclined because when he asked, she did not say, no, I'm not interested in this person.
Okay.
She asked for some time.
One more question.
Yeah.
And do you guys get more proposals? Is there any other person who's interested?
Well, not right now, but there were a few proposals, and I believe this is why, like, he found out about them because she told her friends and whatever. But and I think, and this is why he asked, because he doesn't want to lose her, basically.
Because it's a combination of several factors. Factor number one, I mean, if I have 2, 3, or more suitors who are proposing, and in this case is my right, and it is indeed my duty to choose the best, not just to settle for the average. Okay. So if I have several,
right now we don't have anything.
If I have several of them, I wouldn't say, what do you think of this? And he's the least as far as iman or religious commitment. No, I would aim high. But if he's the only available person right now, and I'm on a hurry, marriageable age is slipping by and whatever, then in this case, if he's showing progress on ground, he started praying regularly, and he said that in a couple of months he was able to read the Quran with some tajweed problems, that means he is serious. Even if he was doing all of that in order to be fit to marry your daughter, that too is actually a good sign. As a matter of fact, the greatest dowry in history was the dowry of Sulaym, who was Anas' mother, because Abu Talha wanted to marry her. Everybody heard about her, so he was very interested, but he was a mushrik. And she said, no, I can't marry you because you're a mushrik. And she started speaking to him when he proposed several times, and he said, you're a wise man, how could you bow down to an idol, etc. So he said, I believe in whatever you believe in, and he accepted Islam. So it was the greatest dowry, because the dowry was accepting Islam. He accepted Islam, and he became one of the great companions, as you guys know. So if he was not practicing, and now he started practicing, and he made an effort, and he's showing some progress, that's a good sign. So it's okay. But if I have proposals and many suitors, and I have better than him, I wouldn't settle for the average. Rather, I would aim high and would choose the best. And also allow some time, like for the engagement, and you invite him over. You will be able to find out whether the guy is sincere or not. Whenever it's a prayer time and he's hanging around, he's clinging to the seat. Why aren't you praying? Why aren't you praying? If he is really sincere in his turn and in starting practicing the deen, he wouldn't need any reminder from any person. It's a prayer time, he will get up and he would rush to pray in the masjid as well. That's a good sign.
Yes.
And also, do not forget istikhara. Do not forget.
Sheikh, I've been praying istikhara. My daughter has been praying istikhara for like the last 3 months. And we're still like undecided. I don't know.
As a matter of fact, what you're experiencing right now is the result of istikhara. Because if the istikhara from the beginning, Allah wanted this to take place, He would have facilitated it. Okay? And the person who should be praying istikhara is your daughter, because she is the one who's getting married. As on your part, you and your husband and everyone who loves your daughter, they can only make dua for her. Oh Allah, give her the best life mate. Oh Allah, send the best suitor. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
But she has. Is there a limit as to how much istikhara one prays for one decision?
No, you can pray more than once until you feel comfortable or you find a solution. I normally pray once, because if I pray it properly, that is sufficient indeed. But as human beings, we rush. We need a conclusion right away.
Yes.
We need everything like money order, cash it right now. I prayed istikhara, then and that's why many people, especially in the Indo-Pak background, they tend to believe this. You gotta pray istikhara before you go to sleep, and they put themselves to sleep right away. Why? Because they're gonna receive the wahy. And I keep saying this is not necessarily true. You may see a night vision. This is one of the indications, but it is not necessarily the only source of confirmation. This is what Allah likes for you. Okay? Let's take a break, everybody, and inshallah Azza Jal, when we get back, we answer these pending questions. But before that, I'd like to pray for Sister Farida from United Arab Emirates. May Allah send her the best suitors. And may Allah send her the best life mate. Ameen. And make her get married soon, inshallah. Same for the sister who just called from United Arab Emirates and her daughter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send her the best life mate and make it easy for her to get married soon, inshallah, a proper marriage. We missed the name of the sister who called earlier, but that's okay. Barakallahu fikum. And let's meet in a couple of minutes, inshallah. Stay tuned.
The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, narrated that when Allah, glory be to him, wishes good for someone, he bestows upon him understanding of the religion, and that Allah makes the path to paradise easy for those who seek knowledge. Preoccupied by work or family in the modern world, a Muslim may struggle to find time for acquiring Islamic knowledge. To ease this struggle, we are launching Huda Academy to be your gateway to online Islamic e-learning.
Enroll now and study from our renowned scholars. Learn Aqeedah from Dr. Muhammad Salah.
Learn Fiqh from Dr. Hatim Al-Hajj.
Learn Hadith from Dr. Muhammad Sa'id.
Learn Tafsir from Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan.
And learn Arabic from our professional instructors.
Successful graduates of Huda Academy will go through a final test and eventually receive a certificate of completion.
To enroll and learn more about Huda Academy, please visit us online at hudaonlineacademy.com.
Huda Academy, your gateway to authentic Islamic knowledge. Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad.
Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa, it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at that time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them.
An Ottoman fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down, where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Steph Karis as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage, only on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Farida from United Arab Emirates. We already prayed for her. May Allah make it easy for her and every bachelor, whether a brother or sister, to get married soon, inshallah, the proper life mate, to have the proper life mate, whom Allah will be pleased with. I like this dua, رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, because it encompasses and comprehends all the means, everything you think of. Everything you want is included in this dua. I don't have any reference to the 40 times, 42 times, or another sheikh would say 43. It's not an auction. 44, 45. No. It is either something in the sunnah, and this is very easy to investigate and find out. If it is not, then drop it. this is a bid'ah. It won't help you by any means. Yes, you can pray at night, you can pray during the day, and in your sujood you keep saying, oh Allah, send me the good husband, send me the best life mate. You're encouraged to do that. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. Straightforward and direct question from Allah. Ya Allah, make me get married. Ya Allah, make it easy for me to get married. Okay? So this is the proper dua. And I said about رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً because Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib once explained this, the meaning of this part to his daughter, saying, حَسَنَةُ الدُّنْيا, the good wife. حَسَنَةُ الدُّنْيا, when you say رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً, refers to the good wife and also refers to the good husband. So رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً in fact is much more general than being specific to a particular demand or request. Every good thing in this life, grant me a goodly reward in this life and a goodly reward in the hereafter, which is paradise, and protect us against the fire of hell. As far as perhaps her mother who died 8 years ago because she used to curse sometimes, yani she used to ask Allah to curse her children, indeliberate of course. Sometimes when the mother is very anxious, say, may God curse you. And this is very common amongst the Arab in the Middle East. The word la'an and anger may come like, she doesn't realize what she's saying. And the Prophet ﷺ warned us against that. Why? Maybe your dua will be answered. What will happen if your dua is answered? And when somebody was riding on the back of a camel and was giving him some trouble and he cursed the she-camel, the Prophet ﷺ took it away and said, nobody should ride on its back. It has been cursed. So we have to watch what we say. Even if we're angry, zip off your mouth. Do not make an invocation which may hurt somebody and then cry out. Even if your dua was not answered, but a dilemma happened to that person who is your beloved one, later on you say, I'm blameworthy, I'm the one who prayed against him. I have heard a lot of mothers pray against their youngsters. May Allah take you, may you die. Okay, she doesn't of course mean it, but what if the dua is answered? What if he died not because of your dua? You live the rest of your life blaming yourself, I killed my son, I killed my daughter. So why would one kill his beloved one? By making dua against them. One should avoid that. My advice to you, Sister Farida, is whether it was because of that or not, you just keep asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And alhamdulillah, when we pray right now, there are brothers and sisters, literally tens of millions of viewers who watch this program and Huda programs. So if you have a few of them who are right, yes, alhamdulillah, and their dua is mustajab, alhamdulillah, they are saying ameen and praying for you as well. Sister Arij, sweeping, vacuuming. Arij, the 3 years old. This is very interesting, wallahi, mashallah. Sweeping, cleaning up at night after sunset, vacuuming, cutting the nails, and all of that. In some cultures, they consider it haram, but it is not haram. You can do cleaning up in the morning, in the evening. That is perfectly fine. Likewise, clipping the nails or cutting the hair in the morning or in the evening is not haram. Okay? Changing the clothes, would that invalidate the wudu? No, only if the person happened to touch his or her private while changing the clothes, whether deliberately or by accident. In this case, it is best to make wudu. It will be required to make wudu, and there are different opinions, of course, in this regard, but because it is pertaining tahara, it is best to make wudu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Zuhaib from the KSA, how are you?
Yes, alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Jazakallah khair for taking the call. And I love you a lot for the sake of Allah.
أحبك الذي أحببتني فيه. And because I love you too, I would like to repronounce your name right. I would say Suhaib.
Okay.
And you should make sure that everybody would call you Suhaib, not Zuhaib.
Okay, my mother is also watching the show right now, inshallah.
Okay, Suhaib, not Zuhaib. Okay?
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum.
Sheikh, I had two questions to you.
No.
The first question was that initially when I got involved into the dawah work and I started learning more about Islam, practicing more. So initially what I used to do is like the dua in the sajda, which I used to do in the nafil prayers, I used to do it in Urdu. Like I'm from India, so I used to do it in my own languages. And alhamdulillah, I could see its effects. But then later on I learned that the dua cannot be done in our own languages in the prayers. So I stopped doing that. But then now I came across another thing that we can do it. So I'm quite confused about this matter, whether dua can be made in our own language in prayer or not, in the sajda.
I am of the view that every person is allowed to communicate with Allah in their own mother tongue.
Okay.
Okay, and to say what's in their hearts. We do have equal rights. Not because somebody was born in India, he doesn't have a right to say, oh Allah, give me a good life, a good life, or a good wife, or a good life mate. No, I have all the right to communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مصداقا لقوله عز وجل. وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي. الداعي, any caller, with any mother tongue, with any language, even with the sign language. Okay? إذا دعان, once we invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as you say your adhkar in the salah in Arabic, the Quran, the dhikr for ruku', sujood, the takbirat, and the prescribed supplications, but when it comes to asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't have access to Arabic language to communicate in Arabic, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا.
Exactly.
Urdu is fairly new language, Indian, whatever language, as long as this is what you perfect, you may invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with it in your prayer. Look, not only in the nafl, but also in the farther prayer.
Okay. And I had another question, which would actually be a question from many of the people of my age. Like I'm 22 right now. Inshallah, I'm planning to get married, and we've come to know about a righteous sister. My parents have agreed about it. But the issue what we use, especially in the college, like what we face.
How old are you?
I'm 22 right now.
Okay.
So there's a lot of cultural issues. Like for example, the girl's father. Girls, they would say that you should be earning so and so, or you should have a good living, and even from the boys' side. So what we realize, even in college life, unfortunately, the scene is like haram has become more easier than halal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. And this is what I really wanted to ask is advice, how to convince the wali of the girl or the parents, and what advice would you give to the parents as well as to the youth of such age who are going through this?
This is my duty. This is our duty. This is the duty of the scholars, the preachers, and the dua. To present and expose many stories verifying the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he said, إِذَا جَاءَكُم مَّن تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَأَمَانَتَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ عَرِيضٌ. Whenever a suitor who is religiously committed, he's an honest, trustworthy person, and can afford to get married, doesn't have to be fairly rich, but can afford it, then do not be an obstacle on the way of such marriage. Facilitate it, because if you don't, that will create fitna wa fasadun arid. It will spread mischief and corruption on earth. And subhanallah, I was speaking to my wife just a couple days ago about an incident where I interceded and tried to get somebody married who was in college with a girl. They like each other. I said the solution is marriage. The father did not seem to be happy because the person was not rich. The girl ended up with a kafir. And the boy went astray. Why? This is just a simple outcome and a natural result for deviating from the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. Now if the father have a chance to use a time machine to retreat and to go back, after seeing what happened, what would he have chosen from the beginning? Oh, I would love this person. Of course, he's poor, but he's a Muslim. He's poor, but he prays. He's poor, but at least he can afford to start a house. One bedroom flat, it's okay. It's better than living a luxurious life with a kafir. And with a kafir, that means she too has become a kafir. So my advice, which I would like to share with everybody, and we did discuss this in details in a program that was recorded 7 years ago. I even forgot the name of the program. I guess at home, I believe. We spoke in details about that. So brothers and sisters, if a nice person, a religious person proposes to your daughter and you believe that you trust his amana, you trust his deen, do not hesitate to propose him to your daughter. And if she likes him, then make things easy. May Allah make it easy for everybody. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. And until next time, next week, I leave you in peace. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.